Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Michelle and I make videos all about how to create a photography business that you love. And if you've ever wondered how to actually pull off a great senior model team experience, this video is for you. I'm sharing key things that I've learned, both the good way and the hard way, that I hope help you create an amazing team experience for you. All right, let's get into it. Alright guys, I appreciate you clicking on today's video. Just for being here, I do have a freebie for you. You guys know I love the freebies. I have 10 easy to plan activities that you can do with your model team to create friendships and community, and that work for me very well. So grab that freebie down below if you need some ideas of what to do with your team. And let's just get right into it because I got lots to talk about. Okay, there's a couple decisions that you need to make prior when you're first sitting down trying to create a model team experience slash program. So the first thing you need to do is decide how many photo shoots and how many team events that you want to do throughout the year. So I highly recommend just sitting down with a yearly calendar, looking at the year overall in the scope, seeing what months are really busy for you and maybe what are less busy for you, so you can kind of map out what you want to do. Now, I strongly encourage you not to try to do something every month. That's insane. And also you'll just be exhausted, because remember, if you're doing a model team program, you're committed to these girls at least a year, depending on when you recruit. Mine is more like a year and a half, so I need to be smart with a balance between keeping the girls engaged on my team and not totally being burnt out. And usually throughout their school year we go like every other month, but during the summer we do a couple sessions, and that seems to be the best balance for me. But also consider your home life. That's important as well. Okay, second decision is budget. You need to decide how much money you want to put towards this team, whether you want to charge a program fee as part of the experience or if it's going to come out of the top end of your collections. That's up to you. So I would definitely budget out how much you want to spend per girl, and then that will also dictate how many photo shoots and how many events or what type of events you can offer. And I just want to take a note and just encourage you right now that the events that you can plan for your girls do not have to be elaborate. Gone are the days of huge fashion shows and huge elaborate events to get girls to want to be on your team. At least in my case, I have a very experience-based model team, so I create a lot of events that build community and friendships, and it doesn't take much to have these girls feel special. And that's really what this generation is craving, is relationships, genuine people in their life, and obviously some fun in there as well. So that's what that freebie download is for you, is just really easy plan events. I mean, obviously it takes a little bit of work, but it's not a huge production in order to make these girls feel like they're a part of something. As far as photo shoots go, there's only really one big group elaborate photo shoot that I do. The rest are very low key and usually optional. If they can make it, great. If they can't, no big deal. But this one I really try to get all the girls to go to, and that's like the big group shoot I do in the spring. And this is stylized, meaning we pick a theme and I go all out for it. And so I want all the girls to be a part of it because it's like the most fun thing to do. And there's a couple tips with organizing a big group shoot, especially depending on the size of your team. So if you have a large team, I would say anything above 5 girls, you need to start doing at least time slots for them, or splitting up into different days. So since I have a larger team, I actually split mine up in different days, just because I know how many girls I can shoot usually in an hour, and I don't usually go longer than 2 hours at a time, for lighting reasons usually. And so what this will do, if you split them up or if you have time slots, it eliminates that awkwardness of having a girl just stand around and waiting, especially if you have girls on the team that don't know each other, or a shy girl. Like, the last thing you want is someone sitting off in the corner on their phone while you're photographing another girl, and that's not what you want. So you want people engaged, excited, especially because you're capitalizing them, on them being excited for the team. This is one of the first things we do, and the girls are most excited at this point for the team. They're most engaged than they will be throughout the whole year once school starts and everything gets busy. So I really want to make sure that I capitalize on that opportunity. By splitting them up and staggering them, I'm able to give them one-on-one attention and small groups here and there. Also, if there is a girl waiting around for pictures, I usually give her her job. So I'll have her hold the reflector, get some behind the scenes from me. If there's a couple girls waiting, I'll maybe say like, can you guys figure out a fun TikTok to do that we could all do together, and then they can work together on that. If you have the budget for it, another thing I like to do is hire a videographer for this shoot. That way if I'm not photographing them, the videographer can work for them, and then I also use that promo reel throughout the year, and it's a really good business investment for me, but it is an investment. So if you don't have the money to do that right now, no worries, definitely give them other jobs to do until you have the budget for that. Another key tip I have, well, probably the main one, so if you started to tune out, please come back to me, because this is the most important thing to get out of this video, is that in order to have a successful team and a successful experience for them, you have to communicate. Communicate. Like seriously, you're gonna go blue in the face on how many times you're gonna be communicating with people. It's just the nature of groups in general, and I lovingly call teenage girls like to do a group event like herding cats because their attention spans everywhere, and sometimes I feel like I'm just like, hey, you know, pay attention to me and the details that I need. So definitely need to communicate, and I strongly encourage like one system to do that and keep with that system. So for me, I use an app called GroupMe. It's basically like a group text messaging app, except I can also put polls in there. I can do calendar events in there. Girls can like things, so I can see like my comments and stuff, so I understand that they're receiving the information that I really like. So I strongly encourage that, and it's free, so it's awesome to use. The main thing with using an app like that though is you really have to educate your girls that that's the way you want to communicate, that's going to be the main source. And so I make it exciting. I say dump outfit ideas in there, you know, any other questions, put them in there, because what will happen is if you're not active in that group, or if you only post once in a while when you do have a photo shoot, they're gonna start not utilizing that, and they're gonna start like DMing you separately or texting you, and that's fine. But once you start getting a large team, it gets really overwhelming to be messaging everyone individually, and chances are if one person has that question, other girls have that question. So I like to push them as much as I can into the app, and that's worked really good for me. And then for parents, I just email them. So I email them final details usually a week or two before the actual event. It's really important to include the parents on that kind of information. Again, you're creating that trust with that parent, and also the more that they're involved and know what's going on, the more successful you're going to be, and probably the bigger sale you're going to get at the end of their senior session, because the parent trusts you and sees the value of how much you put into it. When parents see the email of everything that you have going on, they really understand what they are receiving by having that daughter be a part of that program. So definitely include the parents, but I just email them once because I don't want to annoy them. And then the girls, we talk a lot back and forth in our GroupMe app. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, which is my favorite part, which is group team building activities. So this is actually what I mainly do with my girls. I'm not a photographer that offers a shoot every month. Honestly, I just don't like all that back-end work of editing all those photos, and I tend to have a larger team. So the more girls you have on your team, obviously the more editing you have to do. So I try to keep photo shoots at a minimum. Again, that'll probably be your cheapest option though if you're feeling like you're tight on your budget. Obviously you can always do a photo shoot, because all that's going to cost you really is your time, unless you do props and stuff. But I actually really love the activity. So we can do volunteer opportunities. We've worked with the pet shelter before. We could do like hayride one night in the fall. I love doing some kind of back to school bash. Obviously I have to disclaimer that we are still living in the times of COVID, so make sure you're following the guidelines to your local city and state. But you know, in the past we've done hay rides and bonfires, and I've done like flower cutting class. You can just think of like simple things. Just a simple movie night is really fun. Maybe a girl has a house that they can volunteer, or you could do a backyard thing where you set up a sheet and you have a projector and you just get some popcorn and you have a girly night with the girls. Like, that stuff is priceless, and that's what they're going to remember most about being a part of your team. I mean, they're going to love their photos, but they're honestly going to remember the experiences the most, and that's gold mine for them to share. That's really easy for them to want to share stories and tag people. That feels a lot less like pushy than like photo shoots and modeling and stuff, even though of course they like to share that as well. But again, it is a huge return on investment, I promise, if you do it right. And like little gifts are always fun, like Secret Santa, or just giving them a Christmas gift, maybe a handwritten note, and maybe just like a simple charm or something to just let them know that you're thinking about them. And that's what I try to do, is like little ways to really have them connect with each other without it being crazy, you know, expensive. I have a budget for each session, like I said, or each event. And so, and then I'll ask businesses to work with me too. Most people, when they hear what I do and why I do it, they want to get involved and they love helping. And so sometimes they'll volunteer their space for me, or they'll give me a really good group rate. Another idea is like a roller skating night. You could do like a vintage night where you guys all dress up, maybe in the 80s, and go like roller skating, and that was a big hit one year too. So just keep those things in mind. Again, I have that free download for you of 10 different ideas you can do with your team that are easy to plan. So grab that down in the description box below. And the last kind of tip I have for you to like having all this be successful is always having like a list of icebreaker questions to have on hand. Especially if you're an introvert, which is very common for photographers. Sometimes it can be awkward if you're like, have one girl show up and you're waiting for the rest of the girls show up, if she's a little shy, or if you're waiting in line somewhere and the girls don't know each other that well yet. I always have a list of questions saved on my phone just in case, and just kind of prompt them to start that conversation. And I know that sounds silly, but that really, if you can eliminate the awkwardness, that's, again, the girls are going to remember how they felt more than what they actually did, or photos, or all those things that you actually say. So definitely go on Pinterest, find some icebreaker questions, and have that in your pocket just in case if you feel like, oh, I don't know what to say. Okay guys, just to recap everything, a few decisions you need to make in order to plan and execute a successful model team experience. One, you need to decide how many photo shoots you're going to offer and how many activities you're going to plan. Again, looking at a yearly date and kind of having a rough estimate of which month you want to do what in. Then you also need to decide a budget for the team. That's going to dictate a lot of what you offer and how much. You need to find a way to communicate. Again, I recommend the app GroupMe, and then with the girls. So you need to find a way to communicate with the girls, and then you need to find a way to communicate with the parents. And then email is usually always the best bet there. And then finally, you just need to come up with a rough timeline, put all this together, have a little snapshot, so when you're meeting with a parent at the beginning of the year, you can kind of have a plan for them. It'll just make you, again, appear as the expert, even if it's your first year doing a team. If you have like, June we do a photo shoot and September we do an event, that's all they need to know. You don't have to have a specific date or event plan yet, so rest assured that, because I was nervous about that too. I thought, oh my gosh, how am I gonna have all this planned a year in advance? So most people understand that, that it's not gonna be like that. But if you have at least a rough highlight, I call them like a highlights to give to them, that'll make them feel a lot more confident, and then you can kind of plan as you go. And every year gets easier for me. I know kind of what events worked well and what events I probably wouldn't do again, or maybe at a different time of the year. So I hope that was helpful, guys. Comment below one event that you want to try to do with your team, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.